All right, today we're jumping into something that sounds like it was pulled straight out of a science fiction novel. We're talking about building an invisible bridge, not of steel, but of pure energy and data, all the way to the moon. I mean, just think about that for a second. A wireless energy web stretching across 250,000 miles of empty space. It sounds kind of impossible, right? But what if it's not? We're going to dig into a visionary concept that says this future might be closer than you think. Okay, so what is this thing called? It's the Lunar Resonance Network, or LRN for short. And let's be super clear right up front, this is a futuristic vision. You can't, buy stock in it yet. But what makes it so fascinating is that it's a vision built on real, actual science that's being developed right now. And it could totally redefine our future in space. So let's just run with that vision for a bit. What would it really mean to have a power grid that connects two different worlds? What problems would it solve? What kind of future does that even make possible? At its heart, the idea is pretty simple, but wow, is it ambitious. It all starts with the most abundant power source out there, the sun. The plan is to use gigantic solar collectors in space to just soak up sunlight. And the resonance part? Well, that's about beaming that energy on a super specific, super efficient frequency. Think of it like tuning a radio to the perfect station to create this permanent, powerful connection between Earth and the moon. That sounds incredible, right? But how in the world would a system like this actually function? Let's break it down. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of how scientists and engineers are thinking about this. So this whole network is really designed to do three main things. First, and this is the big one, it's about power. We're talking a constant, steady stream of juice for any bases or satellites on or around the moon. No more worrying about those long, dark, 2-week lunar nights. The second job? Data. It would be a superhighway for information. And the third goal? Well, this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Creating a system to share energy on a planetary scale, moving it wherever it's needed most. Okay, so beyond those big goals, what tech makes this even remotely possible? Well, the absolute key piece of the puzzle is something called space-based solar power, or SBSP. Basically, you put these huge solar panel arrays up in orbit where they can get sunlight 24/7, no clouds, no night. Then you convert that sunlight into microwaves or lasers and beam it down. That technology, that's the beating heart of the whole LRN concept. Now, I know this all still sounds a little out there, but this is where the story gets really exciting. This isn't just a fantasy. The actual building blocks for this network, they're already being designed and tested, like right now, by the big space agencies around the world. Right, so the complete network is definitely a thing of the future, but the race to perfect each individual piece of the tech, that's on. So let's see who's actually in the running. First up, you've got NASA. You've heard of their Artemis program, right? It's all about getting humans back to the moon, but this time to stay. And a huge piece of that puzzle is, you guessed it, power. I mean, how do you keep the lights on during a 14-day lunar night? Well, the answer they're seriously looking into is microwave power transmission, the exact technology we're talking about for the LRN. Meanwhile, Japan's space agency, JAXA, is working with Mitsubishi Electric, and they're true pioneers here. Get this. They've already proven the core concept works on the ground. They successfully beamed power through the air over a distance of 2 kilometers. It's not sci-fi. They actually did it. And it worked. And then you have the European Space Agency, or ESA. Their Moonlight initiative is focused on the other half of the LRN equation, data. They're planning a whole constellation of satellites to provide communication and navigation services around the moon. Essentially, they're building the moon's very own GPS and internet infrastructure. So, you see what's happening here, right? You take the power beaming tech that NASA and JAXA are working on. You combine it with the communications network that ESA is building, and suddenly, all the pieces are on the table. You've got the blueprint. You've got the foundation for a fully integrated Earth-Moon communication and energy network. You get the Lunar Resonance Network. So the building blocks are there, which is amazing. But let's be real for a second. This isn't happening tomorrow. This is a huge multi-decade undertaking. So what's the game plan? What does the timeline actually look like? The whole roadmap is kind of broken down into 3 logical stages. First, you've got the demonstration phase, just proving this stuff actually works up in space. Then comes commercialization, where it starts to become a real business, supplying power to early adopters. And finally, completion, where the whole thing comes together as one big, fully working network.
So let's try to put some dates on this. The demonstration phase is probably going to happen somewhere between 2035 and 2045. That's when we'll see the first real space-based solar power tests on or around the moon. Then, as we get to the middle of the century, say 2050 to 2060, we could see early commercialization, with the first lunar bases actually plugging into this network. And the final step, full completion? Yeah, we're looking way, way down the road for that one. Probably not until the end of the century, somewhere between 2080 and 2100.
So look, this is a century-long project. It's going to require immense investment and global cooperation. Which begs the biggest question of all: why do it? Why does this matter so much? To understand the why, you need to know this term, the cislunar economy. This isn't about planting flags anymore. We're talking about a future economic sphere in the space between Earth and the moon. Think about it. Mining the moon, manufacturing things in zero gravity, doing incredible research, maybe even space tourism. All of that stuff is the cislunar economy. And that is the ultimate purpose. The Lunar Resonance Network isn't just a cool project, it's essential infrastructure. You know how the electrical grid and the internet power our entire economy on Earth? Well, the LRN is designed to be the backbone for this whole future cislunar economy. Without massive, reliable sources of power and data, none of it can happen. It's a vision that bridges not just distance, but our dreams for the future and what's actually possible. It leaves us with one final thrilling question to ponder. If we actually build this network to connect our world to the moon, what new worlds will it allow us to reach next?